Good evening. Let's talk about family. In particular, Godmothership, Goddaughtership, Godsons, and the like. My mother, she has a couple of godchildren. Her one godchild, let's call her Mariah. And let's call Mariah's mother Whitney. My mother always loved to surround herself around people that she could say that I could be around all types of people, but people that she felt morally superior to. Those were the only type of people that she really surrounded herself with. Mariah's mother, Whitney, was a sex worker. And I've known this all my life because my mother's spoken about this all my life. So, she was always holding Whitney sort of in judgment because she felt that Whitney would do more for her guests that would come to visit than she would for her children. The guests would have steak and lobster and the best. And the children, beans and franks, for instance. Well, at some point, Whitney left the man that she was married to and ran off to live in another state with another man, leaving all her children, I believe there were 5 or 6, leaving them behind. One of the children that were left behind was Mariah. So, Mariah's father fell into bad health, and I guess wanted to reach out to people from his past. And Mariah reached out to my mother, and they all communicated as he was going through the last stages of his life, and he eventually passed. So, once the grieving was over and some sort of normality returned back to Mariah's life, she wanted to come out and see her godmother, whom she hadn't seen in ages. So she reached out to see her godmother, and she came for a visit. My mother implored me to come down to visit. At that time, I lived in the northern portion of the state. And my mother and I, our love is best from a distance. And it has been that way for decades now. I would tell my friends, and I believe I've told you this previously, don't get cute. Because everybody wants to see a show. I'm like, don't get cute. We're going to stay for 5 hours. I don't care whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, or any other day that we're all visiting. 5 maximum. And when I say we're leaving, we're leaving. And don't get cute and try to say, oh, we shouldn't, and buy into it. No, we're going to leave. We're going to leave. So, I was not about to tear down to South Jersey to meet someone I'd never met. Given a moment's notice. No. Where do they do that at? Now, I mean, if she was having a health concern, and I have had to do this, I would do that for her for a health reason. I certainly have taken days off of work to take her to medical appointments, take her husband when he was alive, the two of them to medical appointments, because particularly those that require driving on the highway. As they aged, neither one of them were really able or willing to get on the highway, and it was a no-brainer. It was easy for me to do. I just required proper notification so that I could plan accordingly. In a moment's notice, I was not tearing down to go down to the highway to go visit. No, I'll pass on that. So, the husband was in one of the care facilities because he had had another health incident in which he was hospitalized. Rehabilitation, center. So she and her late husband were hoarders. I was going to say low-key hoarders, but no, that would not be honest. They're hoarders to the point where the first thing when my mother's health declined and we needed to basically create a hospital room for her in the house, knowing how attached she is to things, I could not throw anything out. Given her personality, I would not want to throw anything out, not intentionally. So I spoke with her about the idea of building maybe a barn sort of structure in the backyard, but it would have to be weatherproof. In South Jersey, you can expect rain, you can expect snow, sleet, hot weather, cold weather, and so you would need a structure that you could store items in and not have to worry about mold and the like. Because then as if that's going to be the issue or the turnout of storing the item there, then you might as well throw the item away or give it away. There's no point in having a structure just to watch it turn moldy. So we settled upon renting storage space. Of course, to hear her tell it now, she wasn't part of this conversation. Yeah. But I digress. The young lady came and she said, oh, the next time I come, I'll come help you clean out the garage and make some room and this, that, and the other. And my mother said, oh, yes, yes, lovely. Yeah. The girl came. There are several bedrooms in my mother's house. The girl came with her 2 grandchildren. They stayed in a hotel. And I believe that speaks volumes. The girl and her grandchildren cleaned out the garage. They went and got some sort of, a weed whacker, I think, or a tree branch trimmer or something of that nature. And my mother wanted to do something for a dinner or something of that nature. And as she was vehemently against really using technology really at that time, I used the app to order food for them. I should have never done that. No good deed goes unpunished, but I'll get there. So I ordered food for them, and I hear later that they say, oh, the chicken was raw, this was raw, that was raw. And the way my mother was saying it to me, you would think that I personally cooked everything and sent it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, mental note, I won't do that again, because it won't be right, and someone will have something to say. And I try to live my life giving her as little as possible to say when it comes towards to me. Next thing I know, I get a call, and she's telling me, oh, this girl you brought here, threw things I didn't want thrown out. This girl you brought here is calling Nick. But Nick told me. He told on her. I'm like, are you saying she called his house? Yes, Nick told me. He told me she called. One of the moments that I think made my mother most angriest, and one of the things that she doesn't like about me, is that I don't do he said, she said, oh boo-boo. I have no problems. And we'll put everybody in a room at one time, because I want to hear this. And what many people who did not have the intestinal fortitude in my life and in her life, what they failed to do has allowed, I call the demon, to grow. Because when people are not there to argue their point or to say what they said or didn't say, you get one source, hers. And no one in her circle will say, that doesn't seem logical. That doesn't seem correct. And they could have personally been there to witness it, and they won't say, oh, that's not what I saw. They'll sit there like bumps on a log. But when you bring her before the people that she's disparaging and saying this happened, that happened, suddenly, as much mouth as she has, she became like a church mouse. When I put her and the girl on the phone together, all of the rah, 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 rah was gone. All of the you called Nick was gone. And I'm like, where was this? Where did the energy go? Where did the claims go? You have this energy and claims when people are not there to defend themselves. But when they can be present and you can be called on the carpet, this young lady just hit me up recently, and she was like, inquiring as to how my mother's doing and what, thinking about making another trip to visit her. And I'm like, yeah. She, my mother had to, because you were on the line and you did not allow her to be able to disparage your name, but she believes that, unfortunately, because it suits her narrative. So, no, I'm not going to tell anyone what they cannot do. But dear, if I were you, I would want to make that visit, because she's not looking at you through favorable eyes at all. So I had to explain that to the girl. Her other goddaughter, I'm still waiting on $1 of this loan to be repaid. But she loves her aunt. She loves her aunt. But her wallet doesn't seem to, because she can't seem to repay her debt. But she loves her aunt now. All right, you all. Thank you. Have a nice evening.